Hello, everybody, and welcome to this ACT crash course. In this ACT crash course, we're going to go through all the tests in the ACT exam. This is an introductory lesson in which I'm going to explain why the ACT is very important for you if you are in a high school in Egypt, in an American diploma high school, if you are planning to apply for university in Egypt or outside Egypt. So let's get started. So as you can see, the crash course consists of many lessons, and in each mini lesson we cover a specific objective. So the objective of the ACT mini lesson 1 is going to be how to set goals, but also I'm going to give you an overview of the exam, the components of the exam, and also give you an idea about the ACT, how to plan for it and how to prepare for it. So as you know, the ACT is a standardized test that consists of 4 subject areas. So these are the tests, basically. You have, the first test is the English test. And the English test consists of 75 questions, 15 questions per passage. This means the English test has 5 passages and the time would be 45 minutes. And then you have the math test. So the math test has 60 questions in 60 minutes. And the calculator is allowed. And then you have the reading test. The reading test has 40 questions, 10 questions per passage, and you have 35 minutes. And then you have the 4th test, which is the science test. You have 40 questions in the science test, and again in 35 minutes. But then you have the essay section, which is optional. All universities in Egypt do not require the essay. However, if you're planning to apply for a university outside Egypt, you need to check their website to see if they require the essay or not. So these are the components of the ACT exam, but it's very, very important to keep in mind that in every test we have a raw score versus scaled score. So what do I mean by a raw score? A raw score means every time you answer a question correctly, you get 1 raw score. So for example, as you can see, the English, math, reading, and science. Now keep in mind that the scores of the essay are reported separately and do not add up to the 36 scaled score. So what you see here is if you answer 0 to 2, you get 1, right, out of 36, and that's the scaled score. So for example, if I aim to get, for example, if I want to get 30 as a scaled score, I need to get 66 questions correct out of the 75. 52 to 53 on the math, 34, it means I need to answer 34 questions correctly on the reading, and 36 out of 40, right, on the science. So keep in mind that you have a section score out of 36, and you have a total scaled score again out of 36, and that would be the average of the 4 sections together. So remember, what you need to think about your aim. Like you start by taking note of the scaled scores in each section you're aiming for, you want to receive to achieve your goals, and then you work backwards to figure out the raw scores, the raw score equivalents in each section. So it's very important to keep that in mind. You need to set a goal, and that's the main objective of today's lesson. So you have to decide the colleges that you want to apply to, and you think about their average 2020-2021 freshman ACT score, right? In English, in math, in reading, in science. So every space here, you write down the college or the school you want to apply for, and then decide the cutting off score. Maybe you can aim a little bit higher than that cutting off score. And you do the same with all the schools you want to apply for. And then finally you set like the English raw score target would be, remember again, you're working backward, the math raw score, the reading raw score, the science raw score. But it's very important when you embark on preparing for the ACT to ask yourself, why am I doing this? So a generic objective would be to apply for, and then you mentioned the name of college, right? So why it's important to set goals while preparing for the ACT? Because once you set a goal, you know exactly what score, the required score for the college you want to apply to. You will decide the best methods for learning. You will try to do your best. You will have this purpose because as Stephen Covey said, always begin with the end in mind. And again, you think about your goals for the ACT prep. What are the 3 important goals? So pause the video and think about the 3 important goals why you are preparing for the ACT. All right. The last thing in this very first video is to walk you actually through the content of this crash course. So as you can see, the crash course consists of milestones. Firstly, we talk about the ACT exam in general. I provide you with an introduction to the ACT in mini lesson 1. More details, as you can see, about each section, the number of questions, the time in minutes, and the average score. And there is something called college readiness benchmark and what content is covered here. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to talk about facts about the 4 ACT tests and the essay. And again, in the following lessons, we'll have dedicated lessons to cover each subject area, starting with the English test, the math test, the reading test, and the science test, and finally, optionally, the writing test. But most importantly, what you can see, this is organized according to the order of the test on the exam itself. The very first test will be the English, second one will be the math, third one will be the reading, and finally, the science. If you are taking the essay will be the last thing. So as you can see here, we move from general into specific ACT English, and then these are all the lessons of the ACT English. So covering all the areas of the exam, then ACT math, and you get it. And so most importantly, um, um, this is very important. This is a disclaimer that this is a crash course. To give you an idea about the ins and outs of the exam. But in order to better understand the nuts and bolts of each test on the ACT exam, it's very important to use material that cover these topics in more detail. That's it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.